Good morning, Big Brother fans. It is Tuesday, August 20th, day 36 in the Big Brother house. And I'd say today will be quiet, but you know what? It won't be. Tucker specifically said last night that he's only comfortable when he's uncomfortable. I don't know if it was the exact quote, but it's pretty close. He doesn't enjoy it when things are calm. He needs, this is my interpretation, he needs chaos in order to feel safe and in his happy place. And so, yeah, he's just going to keep stirring things up. And I talked last night how I can't wrap my brain around everything that's gone on after the Power Veto meeting yesterday, and I watched the feeds for quite a bit last night. I still don't have a complete grasp on it. I'm guaranteeing you I'm missing bits and pieces, but the sum of it is indeed that Tucker did blow things up for everybody. He said it in a conversation with Brooklyn last night. He blew up every alliance he could. Including the 5-point alliance, which is one that was formed recently, but he didn't blow up the quote tank alliance, the one that's him and Chemo, Takor, Angela, Rabina, and then the Sixth Avenue that includes Joseph into that mix. So he blew up most of the alliances except for his most important ones, right? So when he says I blew them all up, yeah, not quite. All right, so he's definitely has his sights set on Brooklyn going. And he likes to say, because you're the toughest competitor. Yeah, possibly, but I don't know. He said honestly to Brooklyn at least that he doesn't think Quinn is a good competitor. You know, that's the reason he's not worried about Quinn. He thinks Brooklyn's tougher. I think he knows that he can't control Brooklyn. She's not willing to play along with his game style, whereas Quinn seems to be embracing it. Like, this is fun. Let's be villains. Let's mix it up. Let's play fight. And Brooklyn won't do that. And the same with Chelsea. I think that's the reason that Chelsea and Brooklyn are on his target list, because he knows that he can't control them, so they got to get rid of them, right? So, yeah, all the conversations and everything that went on yesterday afternoon, it's all resetting, people renegotiating their relationships again. Mackenzie, I think I hadn't thought about it until this morning, but, she kind of came out of that, and I think Leah came out of yesterday's meeting about hearing about all these alliances with a bit of a, people are playing the game, and I just haven't been a part of it, which they ended up spending a lot of time, the two of them, up in the head of household room, hanging around with Tucker. So Tucker's the one that threw it all out there, so I guess maybe they felt like, well, he's the one to gravitate towards. I mean, he is the current head of household. But that also kind of got under Rabina's skin. Now, Tucker is telling everyone that he and Rabina are just like brother and sister, but they're not just like brother and sister. There's been some stuff going on. We don't know the extent of it, but they've definitely been more than just brother and sisterly in the head of household room. What was funny last night was Leah, I don't know. I don't know if she was taking one last stab to see if she could get a reaction out of Tucker, but she went back to the first week talking about how she didn't say it, but she said, I told Matt certain things. And basically what she was saying was, I told Matt how I kind of liked you. She didn't say that, though. She just said, I told Matt certain things, and there's people that knew certain things, and remember when you were helping me fold laundry? And she's all giggly, and he was like, no. And she was like, oh, okay. Well, and I shared that video, so I'm not telling it exactly, but it was, if you saw the video, it's very apparent that Leah was, at least in my opinion, trying to turn on the schoolgirl giggly charm one more time, and while Tucker was kind of engaging with her, he wasn't giving back to her any of that. Much unlike Quinn, who would giggle back and be silly and say flattering things. Tucker wasn't that. He was like, what are you talking about? And it was just awkward. And in the end, nothing came of it. Tucker would eventually, the conversation would eventually go back to relationships and other people and gameplay and stuff. So it happened. I doubt it'll be shown on TV. Hopefully they don't, because it's not worth the TV time if you're trying to tell a story of the game. It was a failed attempt on her part, in my opinion, to get in with Tucker again. But I don't know if it's worth it. TV time when they don't have a whole lot of time to show stuff. And then Mackenzie ended up there. Like I said, the two of them ended up talking with Tucker and just hanging around with him, and he's fine with the attention. But again, Rubina was downstairs watching, and she was not happy about that, which is what led me to think, there's been talk that the one way to say so now we have Chelsea, Brooklyn, and Cam are up on the block. Now, Cam's not doing much of anything. He is definitely playing the cool, calm, not going to make any waves nominee. Just sitting back. And let's assume that Cam ends up on the block at the end. Can they rally? Can the people that want to keep either Chelsea or Brooklyn and be able to rally the troops to vote out Cam? And I just don't know, because one of those votes probably might need to be Rubina. Because they were like, the point was, I think it was Brooklyn, it was either Brooklyn or Chelsea saying, look, if all the women agree, we can keep the woman, right? We can keep a woman in. We can if we all vote as a block. It's not quite that way, but well, is it? I don't want to do the math right now. Let's say it is. I'm thinking if it's Chelsea versus Brooklyn on the block, then one of them's got to go. But if it's either Chelsea or Brooklyn against Cam, then if all the women vote, they should be able to vote as a block and keep the woman. But I just don't know if Rubina is willing to play that game. I think Rubina is more than willing to vote out another woman, which is fine. I'm not judging her for that. Goodness knows, I'm not. I don't think all girls alliances ever work. So it's like, yeah, well, I just don't think it's going to work, because I just don't see them ever all managing to get along. There's a difference in that dynamic. It's something about guys will just punch each other in the shoulder, and they'll, in theory, bury the hatchet and be done with it. Not always, and not completely, but there is something about that. Whereas it just seems like with the women in the Big Brother world, there's always that underlying thing going on there, and that's I feel like Rubina is just like, you're up talking to my man. What are you doing up talking to my man? And so why would he want to? Now neither Mackenzie or Leah are even on the block, but in order to keep Brooklyn or Chelsea, Rubina's got to work with those two, and I don't know how she feels about working with them. That's kind of the underlying problem here. All right, so it's Tuesday. It's only Tuesday. We got to get all the way to Thursday. We got 2 whole days of this crew. I don't know when they're going to get locked down in the house. Eliminating the backyard eliminates a lot of area for people to talk and chat and stuff and get away from each other. And so if they close up the backyard today, then they'll be more secluded. It'll be harder to get alone and talk. I don't know what the plan is. I don't know if they got locked down or not. They were in the backyard last night, but maybe they're losing the house. Maybe they're losing the backyard this morning. I'm just not sure. But, let me take a quick once over. I'm reaching carefully for my list of house guests here, because I want to kind of do a quick rundown of where everybody stands, because I haven't done that for a while. And I'm kind of like thinking, so who's in trouble, who's in a good place, or who's what. And so we will go in alphabetical order by first name, just because that's how it's on this list, and it's easiest for me to do. Angela, I mean, she's there. She's doing okay. Here's one of the points. When Tucker and Brooklyn were talking, they got it together alone last night. I thought there'd be a big blow up. There really wasn't. I realized that Brooklyn has been lying to Tucker about certain things, and Tucker wants her to admit to it, and Brooklyn will not admit to it. And so that's one of the sticking points with Tucker, is like she's not admitting that she's lying. But Tucker has a very high standards of what he wants and expectations, and no one's ever going to meet those. He will, if someone manages to meet an expectation, Tucker is going to find some other reason to do whatever he wants to do. Tucker's going to do what Tucker wants to do, and I think what Tucker wants to do is he wants to get rid of Brooklyn and Chelsea, because those are the two that he can't control. That's really what I think. I think Tucker can control almost everybody else in that house. Or he thinks he can, or they're willing to let him think he can. Whereas Chelsea and Brooklyn won't do that. That's I guess what I'm trying to say here. So Angela is along for the ride until she's no longer needed. That's my guess. I don't see her. She's not going to take charge of it. She's just happy to be part of a group. Brooklyn is obviously on her last legs. If she manages to stay this week, she's going to have to. She's going to struggle. She's just going to. It's going to be tough for her. Maybe she'll make it. Maybe she'll manage to stay further. I just don't know. We'll see. I just don't want to make. It's not much point investing much in her right now, because she's got to last the week. Cam, I don't know. Cam is maybe he's got a game in him, but I just haven't seen it, so I have no opinion on Cam right now. I just don't want to. I don't want to invest my time in Cam either, because I just don't. He's not doing anything. He's really playing this non-aggressive, non-confrontational game. Just sit back, and he's not in any alliances. He's just kind of there. I mean, he is in some alliances in theory, but he's not, right? Does that make sense? I don't know. Chelsea, not much farther behind Brooklyn as far as the being in trouble scene. I think Brooklyn's the number one. I think she's number two. And, yeah, so Chelsea could very well be the next one to go if someone from Tucker's core group gets on the block and he can talk her. Although Tucker is constantly fighting to try to keep Chelsea safe. So there is that conflict too, right? Tucker and is always like, I don't want. She did not want Chelsea to go on the block, and Tucker kind of pushed that agenda. But she's been kind of quiet lately that I've been paying attention. We haven't seen as much of, or I haven't seen as much of Tucker and Chemo the last couple of days on the feeds. Although I'm sure they're spending as much time together, I either haven't paid attention to it, or they haven't been on camera as much. Joseph. Maybe he is Tucker's number two, maybe, or number one. You know what I mean? Maybe he is. I see Tucker's game, or I see Joseph's game. I see how he's playing it. It may work. It may work. It may work until it doesn't, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So let's see how it goes forward for him. I don't think he's under any big threat right now. I believe that I'm just not sure. I'd have to think of who his major problem people are. I think there's a couple of people that he's not getting along with great, but I'm going to have to think about that some more and figure it out. I'm looking at my next name, Chemo. Chemo is fine. I was thinking of the controlling thing. So we know Chemo has a crush on Tucker. Tucker knows that Chemo has a crush on him. Tucker's going to use that to manipulate Chemo. Chemo probably even knows he's going to be manipulated, and yet he's being manipulated, right? So, yeah. So don't forget, going way back to the beginning, Chemo's gay, Tucker's dad is gay, and that was a bonding point between Chemo and Tucker way back when. That's not been discussed at all anymore recently, but that is a known thing. That is a connecting point between the two of them. And so, that's a strong bond there for Chemo, and for Tucker too. I'm not trying to belittle Tucker. Tucker's not an emotionless person, and I don't remember your username, the person that said this has become a hate Tucker channel. I don't hate Tucker. And somebody else made a comment that, if you don't like the way Tucker's playing, that's because you don't like the way all the other house guests are playing. There is definitely some truth to that, right? Tucker is the one that is out there just pushing, and nobody else is playing the game as hard as Tucker. I would argue that some are. They're playing their style of game, but it's just not the same as Tucker's. And Tucker is a very aggressive, in-your-face kind of game. It's more aggressive than I'm used to, and to get away with it for a long period of time. So, anyways, Leah, I don't know, Leah. We'll see. She talks. She made the comment last night that her jaw is tired from talking so much, and Jacor's like, why are you roasting yourself? Because she was, but she wasn't wrong. So, another, like I said, like about her and McKenzie, they aren't playing the game. They're just kind of existing. I mean, she was trying to latch on to Tucker again last night. That's not going to get you anywhere. It's going to get you, maybe not going to get you kicked out, but it's not going to get you anywhere with Tucker. McKenzie, she's trying. She thinks she's trying, but I don't know. I don't think she's got it in her. I think she's around for as long as she needs to be until she ends up getting nominated again. She's not nominated right now, but I don't see her teaming up against Tucker. I don't see these people going against Tucker is the problem, and Tucker's got them all. It just doesn't get them all, but he's got a lot of them thinking, I can work with Tucker. So he's in a great position of power. Quinn, I'm not sure. I definitely think Quinn's got a decent grasp on the way you play Big Brother, but I don't think he's taking his own advice a lot of times. So, yeah, Quinn is. We'll see. I mean, he wants to play hard, and he said after the power veto that, Tucker saving him was the nicest thing that anyone's ever done. Was maybe the nicest thing that anyone's ever done for him, and he doesn't think he'll go after him if he gets out of household. Well, then that's your downfall, dude, because Tucker's gonna go after you again. You'll be one of his nominees, and he will use it as an excuse if we got to keep the enemy thing going, right? I don't know if Tucker. I don't think Quinn will probably say, I'm gonna go put up you because we got to get the enemy thing going, and Tucker will go, let's not do that this week or something. I don't know. Tucker will probably say you got to do what you got to do, man, but he'll also say I'll go off there and win the power veto, and he probably will. Rabina, I don't know. I like Rabina. Remember, I don't dislike these people. I do not dislike these people. However, I may not be a fan of their particular style of gameplay. And I don't know what kind of gameplay Rabina has at the moment. It's not doing a whole lot for me. And there's a lot of jealousy, the jealousy of the women, maybe getting her man kind of a thing. It's like, no. And watching her feed off of feed Tucker. So okay, real quick, because I got to wrap this up here. Tucker and Brooklyn did have the one-to-one conversation last night. I watched almost all of it. They cut away from it for a little bit, but I watched it. I could, I was seeing it from Brooklyn's side more than Tucker's side. Personally, I felt like Tucker was, I don't know. I felt like Brooklyn was making some points, and I felt like Tucker was just stuck in his ways and wasn't giving her any. Neither of them were giving an inch, really. So it ended. And then they both went their separate ways and retold their stories, and it was just kind of funny to hear how they how I thought Brooklyn's retail was much more accurate than Tucker's. Tucker was much more emotional in his retail to Rubina, which is where I started all this, who was egging him on, bashing Brooklyn at the same time, as Tucker's telling it. Anything negative he'd say about Brooklyn, Rubina would jump around like, oh yeah, that's how she is. That's what she does. That checks. That makes sense. And all this kind of just feeding into his rant about Brooklyn. So that was I've just found that interesting, and so yeah, so for Ramina, I just don't feel like, I feel like she's just feeding into his into Tucker's anti-Brooklyn stuff. So yeah, I don't know. Takor, she has, just like I said about chemo. I haven't seen a lot of her in chemo the past couple of days. I don't know. I don't know if she really wants to play Big Brother. I'm just not sure. She's a very calming influence. She goes around, I appreciate you. I'm glad you're here, and this and that and the other. It's all great, but I just don't know if she's really playing Big Brother. So yeah, that's what I got to say about Takor right now. And then finally, Tucker. I've talked about Tucker enough. You guys know everything about Tucker. I think he's doing great for the style of game he's playing. He really, really is. And yeah, we're going to see him again going forward. We're going to see a lot of Tucker out there, or some of you are going to see a lot of Tucker. I'm probably not, because I just don't watch any of the other shows. But I have a feeling. I really think, I know I've said this to you guys, but I see comments online about people. I don't think Tucker wants to be on Big Brother again. I think he wants to have a reputation for being a great Big Brother player. I don't think he wants to come back into that house. There was talk yesterday about he almost quit the game. And also talk where he talked about just getting into jury and then going home, or he wants certain things if he ends up in jury. Just lots of things that indicate, like, yeah, Tucker's not loving this whole experience. He said he didn't sleep for a week and all that kind of stuff. So I think Tucker, having talked to, I think Cody California, I can't remember his name, was on the challenge, right? And he's friends with Cody. He knows about the challenge. He knows about what's involved with that. I think he heard about that, and Cody probably said, look, you can't get the challenges. You got to be a reality star to get on the challenge. So you got to get on Big Brother first, let's get on the Big Brother, and then you can do the challenge. And I think, or Survivor, whatever. He probably applied for Survivor too. So now he's on Big Brother. He's auditioning for the challenge, and that's where his biggest thing is going on. So anyways, that's what's up. And I'm going to sign off because I got work to do and I'm sitting in a parking lot. Hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday. I will talk to you Tuesday afternoon. We'll see how much more drama goes on. It's going to be, I would think it's going to be calm today, but I just don't know because, like I said, Tucker likes stirring things up. So he'll probably start stirring the pot at some point today when he's bored, right? We'll find out what he does, and I'll let you know this afternoon. Talk to you all later. Thank you for your support. Thank you to my patrons. Appreciate it. I'm due for a shout out to my patrons. I'm due to record another video. I need to do that. I'll do that one of these days very shortly. All right. Take care. See you later. Bye-bye.